On this episode, Tom Bilyeu stops by and we talk impact, motherfuckers. Hey everybody, this is Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is episode 299 of the Ask GaryVee show. Which, before I introduce Tom and get into the Q&A, Facebook and Instagram, I know you're watching. Instagram, if you want to get a question in, you got to go to Facebook. Oh, are we going to do that email thing we did last time?
We can.
I liked it.
I liked it too.
Cool, so we're going to. Instagram, Facebook, if you're watching. If you want to ask a question to Tom, who's an incredible entrepreneur, who's an incredible new member of the Vayner family for a second time, we're going to get into that. We're going to announce a little fun stuff, maybe a little preview. I know Zach's already freaking out. We can do that? That's locked in or not yet? Yeah. Locked in, right?
Oh, locked. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So then I'm going to give a little preview, have a little fun, break our announcement system. What is it? GaryVee team? Good. If you want your question out, what are you worried about, Max? He wants it closer?
Yeah.
So that's all right. Fucking figure. What are you doing with your computer otherwise? Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's fine. GaryVee team at VaynerMedia.com. Put in your
Question in the subject email.
Put your question in the subject email and your phone number in the body. If you want to ask Tom a question during this show, Facebook and Instagram, it's GaryVee team at VaynerMedia.com. Put your question in the title and your phone number in the body. We're going to ask a question in a minute. This is episode 299, which means A, we need a real strategy for episode 300. B, I'm super pumped you're here.
Dude, I'm psyched to be here, man.
Tell the Vayner Nation who you are.
My name is Tom Bilyeu. I'm one of the co-founders of Quest Nutrition, and now I'm doing impact theory. Came up as an entrepreneur because I was super frustrated with my inability to get a movie made the way that I wanted to. And I met these two successful entrepreneurs, and they said, look, dude, if you want to control the art, you got to control the resources. So come with us and get rich. And we all thought it would take about 18 months. I thought, this is amazing. It took 15 years.
How old were you at the time?
At the time, like 25, 26.
You know what? This is such a good place to go to right before I let you continue. Like, this is my whole damn thesis of like lack of impatience and like not contextualizing time. When you're 25, 18 months seems like a long time.
Yep.
We're going to put in a lot of work.
Yeah, it's so true.
And now in your 40s, 15 years doesn't seem so long. It's context of time.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really cool. Okay.
So
what were you guys going to first do?
Started in technology.
Yep.
And chased that. It was literally chasing money. That was it. My sole focus. I woke up every day saying, I'm going to get rich. It was the like centralized
And
thesis
when you
of my
think
life.
do you think that that's what made you successful? Or do you
No,
think when you
that-
changed that thesis?
Precisely
Yeah.
when I changed that thesis. So doing that, I actually did on paper, was a multimillionaire,
Yes.
but I had so burnt out. I went and quit and I gave the equity back. I said, look, I'm not going to cross the finish line.
You had equity worth, more than seven figures,
Right.
Or seven figures, just like a lot of people running around now who are rich on paper, but when the economy collapses and that company goes out of business, they're going to be at zero.
Yeah. People
That's
do
the
not
big-
understand the difference between real money and paper money, man. It's crazy.
Tom, this is why I keep putting out the content I'm putting out. I'm like, cool, I'm glad that you work at this startup that's now worth $1 billion and you're worth 11 million on paper, but until the exit, you're worth zero.
Zero.
And when the economy collapses and there's no fundraising round and your direct-to-consumer gigolo company can't raise more capital, then it goes for zero.
Yeah.
Like every one of these kids has to learn about the crash of 2001 and 2007, but they don't.
Right.
It's fucking bad. Anyway, so you were on paper, you had money.
Yep.
You did it for how many years?
That was about the 6.5 year mark was when I said I got to bounce.
So for 6.5 years, you did something that made you look like you had something on paper, but because you were burnt out and it didn't feel right, you gave it back, which in essence meant you made no money.
Correct.
So you're basically starting over.
Yep. 1000%.
Tell them one more time.
Yeah. I started over because I wanted to feel
You were
alive.
32.
Yeah. And
you
fucking
were worth
unhappy.
nothing.
Nothing.
That's right.
So
That's me though, Andy. I built my dad's store for him, and at 34, I was worth nothing. Like,
let that hang in the air.
I mean, I need it to hang in the air because everybody like looks at us and and I just don't. I wish people understood.
The one thing I really wish they understood is that, dude, I totally get the chasing the Lambos and all this. Like, I actually get it, but at the end of the day, as somebody who lived that and tried that and thought that it was going to be rad, I'm just telling you, it fucking sucks. Like, it will drain your soul in a way you can't predict until you're doing it.
Yeah.
And
And
once
it's super fun up front. Like at halftime, you're like, this was exactly right.
the first 3 years were awesome.
Exactly.
But not because of the money. It was awesome because I was getting more powerful. So
get
I was
it.
learning business. I was like,
I get it.
fuck, like this is amazing. I felt like I controlled my destiny. I was like, this is the shit. And then like after a while, it started to take from me. It started to erode me as a person, and I was losing my relationships. It was gnarly. And my wife pulled me aside and was like, this is now damaging our relationship, because I was so unhappy at work. I didn't want to talk about it at work, which meant I didn't talk to her about the number one thing in my life. It was just bananas. I was just doing it ass backwards. This is all pre like social media. So when I went in and left, it was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I just know I'm going to pursue something that makes me feel alive.
So what happened next?
So I go and I quit, and they say the famous words, which were, we could do this without you, but we don't want to. And so I was like, well, I've already done the hard thing, which is quit. So let me tell you the truth of who I am, because I've been telling you that all I want is to get rich and that, I'll do anything to build this business, and that's not true. Yeah, and it was camaraderie is a higher value for me than pursuing money. Meaning and purpose are what I'm really driven by. I need to be passionate about what I'm doing. And so for three
Did
very
you say
different...
that articulately, or did you
It was
use
pretty
different
close,
words?
man.
Yeah.
Articulate's my game.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
I was just pretty
Yeah,
on
I
point
got
with
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Even in that emotional state?
in the meeting when I quit, I
Yeah,
was
that's
a
what I mean.
fucking mess.
That's what
so
I'm
no,
asking.
there I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Like, I might just be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they said, look, let's go out to dinner
Okay.
and talk. And then once we got there, then I was back
And
to
were you
focus.
equal partners with these individuals?
Not then, but when we did Quest, which is of course what is born out of this moment of crisis, we were equal partners.
So this tech thing you had,
Yeah.
you quit, you guys calm down, decide to become equal, a third, I assume.
Yep.
I'm just asking.
Yep, 33,
Partners
33.
in what literally you went from that to starting Quest?
Yep.
A direct to consumer,
Yep.
like health.
Yeah. So literally,
Like,
and we went from technology to food, and everybody was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's
What
such a
year was
bizarre
that?
step. This was 2009 when we started conceiving it.
Yep.
And then 2010 when we officially started selling.
And you sold it first direct to consumer?
Yo, yes.
What was
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
original Quest bar model? What version of direct to consumer?
So we were online. It was online only. You would come to our website and we would sell to you there, literally just off of our website.
And how were you were doing paid media traffic arbitrage?
No, we were doing
Influencer marketing?
exclusively, but it wasn't called that really back then.
know.
At least we didn't
Yeah.
know that. So we were just out there on
didn't
Facebook.
call it back then either.
Yeah, literally, like I would drive. This is a real story. If you seemed like you might be an influencer, I would drive the fucking bars to your house if you were anywhere near us, and like park around the block because my car was such a piece of shit. I didn't want you to see that like
Yeah.
we were just.
Yeah, scrubs.
Putting this all together,
Yep.
and I would deliver the bar in the hopes that I could make some sort of impression on you about what we were doing.
Were you savvy enough already hoping they would post on social, or even was it just...
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
get this on social.
Yes, 1,000%. Our whole thing was
And they didn't know how valuable that was.
correct.
And that's the ARB.
Correct. Yeah, it was, I mean, you obviously know, and you've talked a lot about this. It was a really cool time. And if you were doing something real and it was beautiful and people could really resonate with what you were doing. So our thing was community, add value to people's lives. Don't try to sell them shit,
And
make their
kids at
life
home,
better.
this was not just social. Like, he probably, and he's going to answer, maybe not, but like, this was like even when like a forum post or on your own blog, like attention was in a lot of different places back then.
Yeah, oh yeah. Dude, forums. We lived on forums. It was crazy.
Guys,
crazy.
forums, like
And what's
way
crazy is-
worse versions of Reddit.
Yes. And it changes so fast. Like the one just constant in the game is that whatever you're doing today is not going to work 6 months from now. So
Which
like,
is my strength because I'm unemotional about
Right.
where the attention is. Bro, I'm telling you, I can't wait. Like, I'm like literally sometimes laying on like a flatbed flight on a red eye. And I'm like, that was just the last time I thought of it. So I'm going to use that example. And like, dude, I can't wait for there not to be social media.
right.
Like, none of it. Because I'm going to be dominating whatever the fuck is happening. And then everybody will understand my thesis more. Because right now, they don't understand that I've been day trading attention my whole life.
Right.
And that this just happens to be when I most popped. So this is what you think I am.
Oh no, I get the game. Trust me.
I know you do. So, okay. So then you built a monster fucking company.
And we built a monster fucking company and it blew up. And in 5 years, we went from not existing to being valued at over $1 billion, doing hundreds of millions in revenue. And it was in manufacturing, dude. Like, really think about that. It's one thing to do it
bro.
in software.
No. You're preaching.
Yeah, it was
When the
bananas.
When the cocoa trees are fucking wiped out by the rain, people don't get it. So
Almonds,
so
almonds,
I tell
man.
all my team in house, I'm like, guys, we're going in and pitching content. Their meeting before this was their supplier for the fava beans, which is the core ingredient of the product, like died, and the family's selling the farm, and like they can't make Cocoa Puffs.
That's real.
right?
That's real.
You
Dude,
know better than I do.
It's crazy. And we got locked into an almond contract at one point that has a material impact on your business. So it's like, in fact, somebody was just asking me outside, like, what makes you unique? And my thing is, I've spent the last almost 20 years building businesses, like sitting down, forecasting, sales meetings, dealing with retailers who are pissed, like trying to figure out channel conflict. What is channel conflict? You know what I mean? Like when you're having to do all that shit, suddenly coming and putting a mic in front of you, it's just like you've got a wealth of shit that you've had to do and encounter to draw on.
When you first discovered me and as we got to know each other the last couple of years, is that the part that was most interesting to you? That like, as you were starting to build your content, personal brand and content ambitions and doing it well, that like, oh, you're like, oh, Gary's like me. Like he's an operator and does content as a person?
The real answer to that question is I was so pissed off by you.
Really?
And yeah. Wait. Listen to this. Listen to this.
This is amazing.
So
I'm pumped right. I don't think I know this.
I start doing before it's called social media, all that stuff. We're doing it, and we're fucking doing it better than anybody else. I was about community when no one was talking about that. I was about authenticity and transparency before those became buzzwords. Like just going fucking ham because that's where I was. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not chasing money anymore, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I'm doing something I care about.
Yeah.
I'm saving my mom and my
Yeah.
sister. Like this
Yeah.
is real for me. So because of that, and it was coming from somewhere so real, we were doing social before anybody else, creating all of our own content, everything. And it was so like for real, I wanted to touch people's lives. And so we blew up. And I felt like I'm king shit. Like I get it. I get something nobody else gets, that the number one most powerful marketing vehicle is being a good person. Like this is fucking crazy. Like we're living in this weird time where just because I actually give a shit, and if I did something like my product didn't work for you, what if not only will I take it back, refund you, I'll give you more for free, like whatever, right? And it just right time. Then my team starts going, Tom, you've got to step out front, dude. You've got to step out front. We want to start filming you. And I was like, absolutely fucking not. That is so weird. Like I want to be in the background. Definitely not my personality to want to step out front. And then you started popping off. Yep. And they kept rubbing you in my face. And they're like, look at this motherfucker. Look what he's doing, dude. Like he's popping off. People are really listen to his message. And I was listening. I'm like, this fucking guy's real. Every word out of his mouth is fucking real. And if people take his advice, and that's the thing I used to laugh about. I was like, guaranteed most people are not actually taking his advice, but I'm going to start taking his advice because it's real and I can see. And I saw that you saw from a personal branding perspective what I missed. And so this was probably about 4 years ago. I was like, all right, this dude fucking figured it out. And now I'm in second place. I do not fucking like second place. So I need to start hustling and I need to get a show and I need to do the shit. And so we would literally just like, how do we bring all this stuff that I've been doing behind the scenes and how do we translate it in front of the camera?
That's awesome.
But it really born out of watching you leapfrog me because you were smashing.
I have so much, I always love pointing to you and you were an early client of Vayner Talent, which, is an evolving business for us here. And I remember just like I don't know, maybe you were in that, Sid or Andy, but I remember like walking, I'm like, guys, he's super smart. Like he's like doing it for the exact right reason. Like he's going to absolutely like rent the milk. Like if you remember, and this is just truth, I was like, hey, well, we can help you build it for yourself. But you were like, nah, it's valuable for me to pay the fee. I can see every nuance. But it was like, I remember that meeting so clearly. But what I loved was you built an actual business. Right. Real quick, I'm not even sure I know this. Quest sold.
Well, we sold a piece, so I still have massive ownership. I'm just not involved day to day.
So who did it sell to? What
so
happened?
we brought in
private
equity, yeah, brought in private equity, but just the valuation was so crazy.
You needed to take something
that
off.
the dollars. It was pure diversification on our part. So now all of a sudden,
and so who's operating it now?
So my two partners are still there. They brought in a new CEO just to like.
And you were the CEO?
No, I was the president.
Yep.
And so businesses go through phases,
of course.
And who's right in 1 minute's not necessarily right in the next.
That's right.
So when I left, they just changed things up a bit and off to the races they went.
And so what's going on with you now for the audience?
So I've launched a new company called Impact Theory, which literally, no bullshit, when I got into business, it was because I couldn't get the films made that I wanted to make. Now, admittedly, my whole thesis around what film can be changed in the intervening time. And now I've become all about impact. But, and this is one of the things you and I talked about in the beginning, is I was telling everybody, look, what Disney just did by buying Marvel, like you don't understand what's going on. And I pitched it to you and you said my whole life is predicated on the fact that Disney just bought Marvel. And I was like, this motherfucker. So I was like, all right. So my whole thing is Disney did something nobody else did, which is they told one kind of story from 1,000 different angles. And because of that, their brand means something. Yep. So if I say I'm going to go see a Paramount movie or a Universal movie, you know nothing about it. But if I say I'm going to go see a Disney movie, you already know something. So I'm all about impact. I'm all about reaching out and touching people's lives in a for real way. And hopefully we'll get into that because I've recently been really, really struck.
Into it here?
Yeah,
this right now?
Yeah, that would be
Go-
amazing.
you're going to take it there right now.
So
Finish
basically-
this, but then like go right into it. Segue.
So I want to really touch people's lives. I've worked in the inner cities a lot. Started when I was 18. For extra credit, I did an 8-week assignment with this little kid who was like drug and alcohol impacted, totally just out of his mind. And he would freak out when I would try to help him with his homework, cry, just a nightmare. And then when I'd say I have to leave, then he would beg and plead and cry and all that, and I would stay. Week 5, I realized he's trolling me and that he actually knows exactly what he's doing. And I thought, this fucking kid's sharp. So then I got a little respect for him. And at week 6, you have to tell him, I'm only coming for 2 more weeks. So I tell him, he goes nuclear. I mean, I've never seen a human that distraught. And so finally I'm like, is it because I said I'm only coming for 2 more weeks? He says, yes. I say, look, man, because by now, like I really have bonded with this kid.
Of course.
So I'm like, as long as I live in Los Angeles, as long as I live in Los Angeles, I'll help you with your homework. But you have to do it the second I get here. No more of this like fighting and stuff. That becomes an 8.5-year relationship.
Wow.
Completely changes my life. I didn't know it at the time, but he's being abused by his adoptive mother. He gets taken out. They make me the guardian. I have to help him into foster care. I mean, it was some heavy shit for an early 20-something kid from Tacoma. And going through that process, I just had this overwhelming feeling that this kid could be something. He could be really special. Like he's a beautiful human being, but he's never going to be, because what he's been taught is so limiting that. And so I used to take him to movies in Beverly Hills because I was broke, but movies cost the same. And I wanted him to see beautiful places.
Yeah.
Wanted him to have something to aspire to.
Yeah.
So anyway, flash forward 15 years. Now I've got about 3,000 employees, and about 1,000 of them grew up hard as hell. Like one kid held his stepfather while he bled to death from a gunshot wound to the head. Another, his sister was shot in the heart with an AK-47 in his front yard when she was 12. I mean, just like story after story after story. And I had that same feeling again. These are amazing fucking people, dude, but they're never going to do anything. And so back in the early days of Quest, I interviewed everybody. If you wanted to work there, you're going to interview for me, whether you're janitor or EVP of sales, didn't matter.
Me too.
And so I had this magic genie question because I wanted to know what you were really about. And so, hey, a magic genie is about to show up. They'll grant you one wish and one wish only. It can't be more wishes or to cure cancer or bring somebody back from the dead. It's got to be for you. What do you want? Dude, I must ask that question. I'm not kidding 300 times. What are the odds? Every single person give me the same answer. Literally every single
Which was
person. $1 million.
What?
And I was like, I had that reaction. So at person 10, I actually said to the team, are you guys fucking with me? Like, are you prepping them beforehand? Because it doesn't make any sense. You can't get a house in LA for $1 million. It's a magic fucking genie. You don't ask for a money machine or $1 trillion. You ask for $1 million.
Would they have to?
So
would they
fucking
have to pay taxes on it? Like, was
Exactly.
But was it
it's
650 or was it capital gains? Did they get at least 800 or like?
Dude, it was so crazy to me.
Understood.
And so what it showed me was frame
By the way,
of reference.
I apologize. The $1 million thing really fucks with me too, because the 1% of earners in America, the bottom of it starts at 440, and this million fucks with everyone.
Yeah.
I wish the answer to that question was 440, because then it would be based on the merit of reality. The delta between 440 and $1 million is pretty significant,
Right.
and everybody thinks $1 million is just the beginning of any level of success.
Mm-hmm.
I think about it all the time. Anyway, keep going.
So it was the only truthful answer is it was heartbreaking. And I thought, all right, their frame of reference is what's keeping them stuck. It's not that they're not smart. It's not that they can't learn. They can. So it is entirely that they don't believe that their energies will be rewarded with powerful knowledge. So they don't read a book. So they don't think anything will come of it.
Right.
They don't dream big enough. They don't think that they can. So I was just
Andy,
like,
got questions? I'm going to get some more. If you're watching on Facebook or Instagram live right now, Tom and I Tom's about to segue into what he really wants to talk about, but then we're going to do a couple questions. It's GaryVee team at VaynerMedia.com. Put your question in the title and your phone number in the body.
there it is.
Some people are just born with it. Go ahead. What do you want to segue into?
So my whole thing is, how do you help people like that at scale? Like,
Yes.
how do you really do it? So,
And so you're going to build a media company around that.
correct.
I love it.
So there it is.
I know. It's fucking right.
Thank you, man.
What you have to do is what you have to do is follow what we're doing at Vayner. I got to show you, actually. Obviously, we're going to be seeing each other probably a lot more, given what we'll announce in a minute. I'm so happy for you, Zach. Zach, you just made the best decision of your life. Zach, when you decided to join and create with me Vayner Speakers, did you and we've known each other for what, 8 years? Longer. Cool.
Wow.
It's even better than you thought, right?
Yeah.
That's all I needed to hear.
This is what I hoped.
In fairness,
Yeah.
He actually said that outside.
What'd he say?
When there were no cameras, that it was better than he thought. He said, I knew it was going to be big. I knew it was going to be special, but it's actually better.
Because what I do is sandbag. I sandbag everything about it, and me, and it. Like it's gonna be so. You're so good, bro. I just want to give you. Honestly, you're such a good dude. I'm so pumped. What we're alluding to right now, everyone's confused, is we're gonna be. We announced Vayner speakers, as you guys know. Zach is the CEO. We worked together for a long time when he was at CA, and we had a great run. I have big love for CA speaking and all that. Peter Jacobs, big shout out to you. I love you. And we're gonna announce our roster probably in a month or so, within the month, soon. But Tom is one of the first who's with us exclusively, and we're going to be doing his speaking career. So we're going to be I have a funny feeling 4 or 5 events next year. We'll be speaking at the same event, so I'll be able to see you. But where was I going with that? Fuck, there was an interesting segue, and I got excited about the Vayner speakers thing. I want to show you something we're working on at VaynerMedia that is like going to transcend content that I think you'll need to do to be a great 2023 storyteller from a high-low standpoint. Just the sheer volume of content needed to be, right? Kind of like what I do, kind of what you're doing. Stefan, it's great to see you. Okay, so anything else you want to say before we get into questions?
No, man, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Have you been doing investing? Like you made a lot of money.
Yep.
That's not as fun as it sounds, right?
It's not.
I hate it.
Not
I'm
my
kind
focus.
of over it completely almost.
My thing is I'd rather.
I like it. I want to do some sort of like incubator. I don't want to invest anymore. I want to find kids that and old people. Like I don't give a fuck. People that have like a $3 to $7 million business, and I want them to give me 49% of it, and then I want to like just plug it in and make it do 100.
Yep.
I think I can do that consistently. We had a close deal, Sid. They fucked up. I love when people overplay their hands. Right? I love it. Don't overplay your hands, kids. A lot of people fake it and posture. If you run into a real winner, like Tom and I, we might say no, and then the whole deal's dead. That's what happened. He overplayed his fucking hand. Sorry, I'm doing so much sub-talking. Who's this? Josh.
Gary, how are you?
I'm amazing, brother. You're on the Ask GaryVee show with me and Tommy B.
Oh, dude, this is awesome.
Are you watching? Clearly you're watching. How's the show going so far?
Oh, dude, it's going amazing.
Tom's killing it, right? Like he's completely charming your pants off, right?
Dude, Tom is the man. I'm watching a lot of his impact theory recently.
His fucking impact theory with my boy Simon Sinek like took over the internet.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like my team came in like, yo, Simon's got a super viral video. By the way, we made the best video of all time. I made a video that recorded me rebuttaling Simon on certain things about millennials while I watched it for the first time.
Wow.
We played it. They're recording me. I'm talking over the two of you, and I think the video would have had 1 trillion views. The reality is I have so much respect and admiration. I love Simon. That I felt like, and I'm so team millennial, and I hate what's happening with people misbranding them, that I felt like I was two teeth, and I didn't want it to become a me versus Simon thing, so I never aired it.
Wow.
You watched 30 seconds, talked for 10 minutes, was really, really good. I was like, I cannot wait to publish this, but then you didn't want to publish it until you fully watched it and could get grounded in what was saying. So we waited on it, but then a week later, it already had its moment.
Yeah.
But that's definitely in the graveyard.
I could do it right now. It's a piece of amazing content. It's that I have too much admiration for Simon, and I felt like my energy, it was kind of like my trash talk, where I had to edit out a bunch of stuff in Trash Talk episode 3, because my energy was in a place where I switched into the competitive, you know? Anyway, sorry, Tom. Tom, that video fucking went berserk.
Yeah, it was bananas. Bananas. And that was all him, dude. He just smashed it.
I know.
He just smashed it.
Do you feel like, anyway, nonetheless, what's your question, brother?
Hey, so before I get into my question, you talked about Trash Talk 3. I've also been following that. I think that's a major key for anybody who's looking to like make some extra money or who hates their day job. So if you're listening and maybe this happens after, definitely check out Trash Talk series by Gary. It's
like
amazing. Just want to give you a shout out for that.
Dude, you know what? Back to that shout out. It's kind of why I like Tom and me. Like, I like practical operating practitioners. Like, I love that shit. Like, learning how to make $230 a week extra on OfferUp and on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and eBay is just smart. Because not only for a lot of people, $800 a month, $900 a month is game changing. And you and I share the perspective of seeing other parts of the world where fucking $200 a month is a big deal. Number 2, it teaches you shit. Anyway, go ahead. What's your question? Because we're about to hang up on your face.
Change a culture at a corporation as an employee.
I lost you for a second there, brother. One more time.
How do you change a culture at a corporation as an employee?
Tom?
Yeah, man. I think the real honest answer is unless it is being supported from the top down, it will never, ever work. So you can go to them, and if you can get your leadership on board, then you've got a shot. If you cannot get them on board, it will never work. And if the culture is that dysfunctional, my advice to you is if the top isn't going to get on, get out.
Yeah, I'm going to be even more black and white, even though I know exactly what he was saying. The answer is you can't. Even if you, like, for example, me, I'm like a really good dude, like, but it's still, if it's pitched into me, I have to manipulate it into mine or I don't like it as much. That's just what the leader does. You agree with that, Andy? It's funny, right? You guys have to like strategize how to make me feel like it's mine. Otherwise, I'll never do. Seth, you're laughing, right? What happens? You guys just sit out there and try to figure out how do we make Gary feel like this is his, otherwise he will completely not support it, right?
We're not smart enough to think about that. We just see it come out a week later. Like, I feel like I was the one who told him that.
Yeah, so anyway, brother, listen. If you're in a company, look, culture to me is really interesting. I think companies build it from the get. So if you have the original founder there and it's not good, get the fuck out because she or he was never on board. If you don't have the original founder and they've been there for more than a year or two, get the fuck out because they changed it. I literally tell my whole company in all hands-on company meetings, hey, real quick, by the way, before the end of this meeting, if I ever sell this place, quit the next day. Because everything I've promised you is not true anymore. So I'm with Tom, man. Like company, like unless you miraculously have leverage on the singular A leader of the company, which even in a 3-person partnership, there is an A within that, you will not be able to change the culture because culture 100% stems from top. You're either a CEO that likes happiness and impact and why we have a good culture is I hate negativity. I'm weirded out by it. And so because I'm also the best money earner, nobody has leverage on me, so I fire other people that don't do good things to my culture. Unless you have a leader like that, that means they care about the money. And when you care about the money, the culture has no fucking prayer.
Yeah. No, and culture, man, is literally everything.
Everything.
My thing is my new absolute obsession is emotional safety. And it's one of those things people don't talk about in business. It feels super weird to say words like emotional safety, but I'm telling you right now, if whatever you do, whether you're starting your own business or you're in a business, look for somewhere where you can have emotional safety because coming into work and feeling good about it is a big deal. And I think there are 2 metrics, and this is really going to get people in a weird place. Metric number 1, laughter. How often do people laugh? You have to fucking pay attention to that. And then number 2, and dude, the first time this really occurred to me was I was in your office and I was looking out and I saw 2 people put their arms around each other. I thought, wow, that's interesting. And so when you build emotional safety, you will just see that people connect and bond in a way that becomes physically expressed.
You should see VaynerMedia weddings. They're absurdity. People that haven't been here for lifelong friendships.
Totally. That's trust, man. It's emotional safety.
There's an agency being built in Bali right now by Sean Kaleo and Pinsuda. This is in perpetuity. I tell everybody, it's like a framework. I totally agree. My big one that's more practical, I like yours better. I hate that I have to be the straight man, but it's a good one for a lot of people listening, is voluntary retention. The way I judge Vayner is how many people that I really give a fuck about, that I think are awesome people and are awesome at their job, have left Vayner. The number is staggeringly low. I know we got something.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you for the question, brother.
Yeah, Gary, just to Tom's point, Google did a study of effective teams, and they called it Project Aristotle, and safety was the biggest piece of making a successful team. So it's backed by research. Google actually
it
has
makes
a study
sense.
of Aristotle that literally.
It makes sense. It makes
Yeah,
sense,
100%.
brother. But here's the problem. Google's stuck because they're a publicly traded company, and that's why they have the entire company walk out on them. They're stuck. Guys, life is binary. Either as a business, either you care more about the money or more about the feeling you feel in running it. I would be fired by every publicly traded. If Vayner went public, I'd be fired. Fired fast. I have easily taken this business from 40 to 140 million in revenue and 200 over kind of the holding company, and I'm making way less money today than we did at 40.
God, that's so interesting. And I really hope people are listening. No. For real, hold on, because that dude, that's the juice. Once you understand that in your life, motherfuckers, you're either going to be chasing money or you're going to be chasing fulfillment, and nary the twain shall meet. And
Thanks for calling, brother.
when you chase fulfillment, you may also build a massive fucking company.
I'm going to do both. I always say, and I'm making up the rules, that I'm going to be the best entrepreneur because I'm going to make the most money and have the most impact on other entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think there's a third part to that I clearly see in your company and is literally the cornerstone of impact theory. And that is people over everything. It's the connection that each person feels, the trust. From that, we'll be able to do something extraordinary because when you believe in people, your guard is down, you're emotionally invested. Yeah.
Where does entitlement fall into it? Because I will tell you one of the flaws in me running Vayner over the last 7 years, and we've gotten a lot better in the last 2 years and we're well on our way, but I definitely created a macro culture of entitlement because I had people over everything and I took everything on my head.
Yeah. So it's two things. One, it is absolute high standards. So you have to have standards, explain what they are, and know what people have to do in order to be in that sort of safety circle. And then the other is your boy Ray Dalio. I'm looking at your girl Lindsay down there. So Ray and his whole notion of say truth, hear truth. That is the one time I will say when I read that book, it changed me forever as an entrepreneur because it was a failure of my imagination to believe that you could hold a thousands of people in an organization to, and this is how he says it, and this is so true. Even if you have a criticism that you're prepared to take to the grave, that you don't even say to your significant other, you still have an obligation to voice that.
That's super fascinating because that is absolutely not a strength of mine. Radical candor is something I continue to evolve into. It just doesn't, I'm really great when shit comes natural to me. I just don't like money, and I will use money, and I'm really emotionally strong. I will help other people emotionally. Like, it's really funny. Radical candor, and that even to that level is absurd. No question is a strength of his and others that I haven't had. And now I've gotten dramatic. My brother was much better at it naturally. I've gotten a lot better, and it's been a strength of mine. Look, today we fired somebody that I've been thinking about it for 9 days. Super not pumped. I feel like shit right now. But if I don't do it, the whole fucking thing crumbles.
Yeah, it gets toxic for other people.
And so people over everything doesn't mean keeping people around, even though you've manipulated your own self in believing they're better off with you than not with you.
True, but here's part of why I say people over everything, and it doesn't mean that I'm just going to let you get away with murder. It's like you've got the collective, and for the collective to have trust and all of that,
100%.
then they have to know that if somebody isn't living up to it, they're not carrying their end of the bargain, that they're going to be let go, like simple as, but that it's going to be done openly and respectfully, and that you're going to help them transition out gracefully, unless somebody's just like willfully horrible.
And that happens too.
Sure.
This is where ego of hiring is a vulnerability. Like, people hire people, they end up being awful, and they don't want to admit they made the mistake, and they keep them around.
For sure.
Yeah, hello?
Khaled?
Yeah, this is Khaled.
Khaled, it's Gary Vaynerchuk. You're on the Ask GaryVee show with Tom Bilyeu.
Live!
All
What's going on,
right.
Gary?
Life is good, my man.
Top, man. Thanks for having me on your show. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to get straight to the point because I know your time is really expensive. I just had a question. This is something to do with my life. I've been in the exotic car business for a very long time, and it's a very expensive business to get into. As someone in my shoes, an entrepreneur, don't have a lot of funding behind me at all, actually. So I have a large list of contacts. I've been networking for a long time. It's not the grades you make, it's the hands you shake. So I met a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, A-list celebrities, music artists, all walks of life. And I've been doing this for about 10 years. I'm 26 now. So I've been in the game for about 10 years.
Dude, how the hell do you not have an Instagram link at the bottom of your website when you're in the most visual and kind of exotic car world?
I definitely need. I have a really nice Instagram. I mean, I haven't.
But you have a nice
while.
website with some fucking exotic fucking animal on top of a cool car. But you have literally the Facebook and Twitter logo at the bottom, but not the Instagram one.
I know. So that was actually a dealership that I worked for. It's not.
Got it.
I'm currently working for myself now.
Respect.
As basically a broker.
Respect.
And now I'm working by myself and brokering deals, taking clients, because clients come back for me. They don't come back to the dealership. They come back to the person.
The person has the leverage.
Exactly.
So what's the question?
My question is now, basically, I have the experience. I have the clients. The demand is there. I'm getting calls every time, a concert's in town, anything. Celebrities need cars for rentals. They want to buy new cars. I'm trying to figure out how do I get to the next level, Gary, as far as getting funding to start a company like that? How do I find investors who have the capital and are looking for, that kind of a business startup?
Dude, your entire fucking life is interacting with people that have that kind of money.
And that's very true, Gary. I meet people who are billionaires. All sorts of people. But here's the biggest, thing I have to overcome. I feel like every time, if this is an objection, is that I'm young. I don't have per se a track record.
Brother. The number one mistake that people make in life, let alone business, is they say no for the other party without asking.
Word. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if look, I have empathy. I hate asking anybody for anything. So you've got these clients. It doesn't feel appropriate from transitioning to you just rented them out something, and now you're like, hey, give me $1 million. But inevitably, you've now interacted with some fucking ballers an 8th time, a 10th time. Some of them have even shown a liking towards you because they see them. Tom and I, I'm sure, do this, just knowing him a little bit. When we see ourselves in people, you just gravitate towards it. You're because you're just always very aware that circumstances helped you so much. And so I'm always in the business of helping somebody out when it feels right. You just live it that way, right? That's just the fucking game. Look, brother, you're going to have to ask somebody for the money, right? And a kid like you, who's more like a kid like me, you're not going to get it from traditional VCs. They don't invest in shit like this, and we don't have the pedigree to get money from those people. You have the pedigree to get money from other hustlers.
For sure.
Well, here goes nothing. Gary, you ready to invest in my company or what?
100,000% not. Here's why. You must have either missed it a few minutes ago or you skipped over it. I literally just said 11 minutes ago that I hate fucking investing.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
I know you are,
but I really appreciate you having me on your show. And I did want to tell you, I never kept it above me to do other side hustles, like going to garage sales or picking up line birds and scooters and charging them. I've been doing all the things that you have, trying to save up money and invest.
Good for you, man.
So
look, there's a lot of your vibe that's interesting, man. Like you come from an industry that I'm always scared of. It's the slickiest of the slick, but you're articulating yourself even in my intuitive feelings, which I go by all the time. Look, man, listen.
I really appreciate that.
Let me say something to everybody who's listening. The reason so many kids are starting companies and want to get venture capital is if they fail, they don't have to pay anybody back.
I think there's another reason.
There's a lot of reasons, but this is one that nobody talks about, Tom.
Yeah, fair.
You give up 25% of your company. The amount of people that I think are starting companies, startups, that already know on day one that they have no chance of success is remarkably high, but the capital they raise allows them to live the lifestyle with no damage to their credit. There's too much fucking money in the system. Here's why I'm telling you that. If you really believe in yourself, bro, and you've been doing something for 10 years, and this is going to brain fuck everybody on my team. I hate when people have credit card debt. It's my freak out, right? Or debt in general. I will tell you that I've been at my best when I knew that I was operating, not taking any chance. And when I'm willing to do that, I'm willing to do anything to get the money, like fucking loan shark shit, like mafioso breaks my life shit. You know why?
Yeah.
Because if I understand the interest, and I understand I can figure it out even if I'm paying 50% interest, let alone 5%. The days of getting money from the bank, people don't think about that anymore. But let me give you where I'm actually going. You know how many kids should be asking their parents for money or their rich aunt? A lot. The problem is they're not thinking about it right. They need to walk into their rich aunt and say, Aunt Sally, I need $150K, but I will pay you back. And if it dies, I will then get a job and I will pay you back $5,000 every quarter for the rest of my fucking life. People are not putting their fucking balls on the line. People aren't doing that anymore. Everybody wants to raise money and give up 20% of a company worth nothing. You don't have to risk it when you're delirious. The reason I'm giving you this advice is you've been doing it for a decade. You feel intuitively right to me. So I'm saying to you, do what Tom and I did and live the practical life, not this bullshit life. Live the practical life, man.
And you know what? That was the first step for me to move forward, is to stop trying to live up to everybody's expectations, stop looking at everybody else, and humble myself and actually
100%.
have my friend move in, split the rent, share a studio.
Humility,
do that,
humility for the alpha male and woman in their 20s, humility is the secret fucking sauce.
But now let's push it. Did you actually do that?
Yeah, I did, because here's the thing. I was always trying to buy the most expensive stuff.
Because that's what you were looking at.
Everybody. When I stopped doing that and I just focused on myself and I accepted myself for what position I'm in, and I'm like, okay, Khaled, your fucking shit's in the toilet right now.
Keep going, Khaled. Yes.
You need to get your stuff together, lower all living costs down, and just do every little side hustle that I can, because I can maximize my time now that I'm working for myself. So I could do a bunch of little stuff. At night I'm doing the scooters. I mean, I'm doing 40, 50 scooters a night. We're going to garage sales, picking up stuff free off Craigslist. I'm marketing stuff online for people, Google Ads, Instagram. I'm doing a bunch of stuff, and I have my cousin who.
And are you happy?
And he's helping me.
And you're happy.
You know what? I'm very happy, because
so then
I'm not
real
working
quick.
for anybody.
This is real quick, because there's a lot of bubbling up of Gary, you're pushing people to work too hard and all this stuff, and I'm watching it. I'm like, I love when elitists who work their faces off to make a bunch of money then tell everybody else not to work hard.
That's some bullshit anyway.
So to me, if you love what you're doing and you're happy and you're mentally and physically healthy, do you. I'm not judging anybody about doing anything, but it's all about self-awareness and putting a framework around where you don't keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, now I want to put my finger on something. So,
Please.
dude, your vibe changed so much when you got into the pocket on where you're confident.
100%.
Humans lead with belief. In the beginning, you didn't have that belief because you're stretching for the fancy cars and all that. But when you slid back to, I'm living in a studio apartment with 6 other dudes, I believed in you. And if you came to me with that hustle and you're like, look, motherfucker, I have boiled my life down to nothing. I have no expenses. I eat top ramen and I grind it the fuck out from the floor of my friend's bathroom. I will make this shit. If you give me money, I will spend the rest of my life paying you back if it fails. And you have that belief because you actually believe it. You know it's true. You know you can do that, and you're operating from a position of strength. Now just your energy is going to convince people to get on board with you. But when you try to posture, hustle from a place that's not real, that's where people don't buy into you.
And the beauty is, that's what I sense the whole time. Dude, this is really cool. By the way, this is the kissing cousin to why I want kids to stop taking money from their parents. It all comes down to the same thing. It's called fake environments. Either you live on your merit or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
I've been on my own since I was 15, and I'm very thankful for it, because my parents instilled me with the right morals and the right hustle at a young age. And then I, was forced to be a man on my own, and I worked mechanic shop, and I sticked in the car thing for a long time.
Clearly.
So it's my passion too. So it goes hand in hand. I enjoy everything that I do. It doesn't feel like work.
I love it.
Even when I'm working long hours.
Khaled, you live in Atlanta?
I do live in Atlanta. Uh-huh.
Cool, man. Send me an email to Gary@VaynerMedia.com. I want to high five you when I come for Super Bowl.
Dude, that would be so awesome.
And that wasn't secret code, because I don't code for I want a fancy card. Fuck, I hate that shit. I mean, I just want to actually high five you.
Dude, I would be a pleasure to be standing within your proximity.
Awesome, man. Thank you for the call. Fake environments. I want to wrap up with this. You get it, because last time Scooter made us do another call and it turned out so awesome.
Someone wants an internship with Tom, but we're not going to call them.
Okay, got it. Tom, I'm so about this fake environments. If I can convince people that credit cards are bad, that parents' money is bad, that posturing is bad, the happiness is absurd. The happiness is absurd.
Also, I want to get people on obsessive thinking. So one of the things people always ask me, okay, what's your secret to your success? I normally say reading, but I'll say that there's actually something else I do that people, it's hard to articulate, but here it goes. There's a great question that Peter Thiel asks. How do you take your 10-year plan and make it happen in 6 months? So if you obsessively think about how do I accelerate this? Like what's that quantum leap forward? And for him to be thinking about that, like the collapsing down to very little expense so that he can get into a place that's actually winning, win with that, build like a package up that he can go pitch to people and say like, look, I only want whatever, I want to flip more scooters, whatever. So he's getting in at, 1,000 or 10,000 instead of, 400,000. Then he can build that momentum and you just keep going upstream.
Lack of patience, man.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You and I disagree on the use of the word patience, like so violently.
Please.
So my thing is fuck patience, literally. But the thing is, I always tell people, I know what Gary means. And Gary means play the long game.
Macro patience, micro speed.
1,000%. The problem is when people hear patience, they get in a passive mode. Yes. So I'm
Motherfucker,
fucking psychotic
brother,
about that.
You use the word passive though.
Yeah, exactly. You can't let people get into a passive
That's
situation.
Fine. The word's patience, not passive.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when people hear that word out of anyone's mouth,
I understand,
they
but
go
I'm
in the
living
wrong
a
direction.
life of everybody semantically articulating the manipulation of words to their non-meaning.
It's interesting. So here's how.
Like I love when people I love the amount of judgment that is being thrown at me right now in circles around people manipulating the words that I'm like. It's absurd. Like patience is not passive.
So my thing is, how do people react to it?
I couldn't agree more. But the reality is if we are now in a place where we can't allow the words to actually mean what they mean, we have to challenge that conversation as well. Because now you're getting into how people filter everything, and now we're talking about the most important P, which is perspective. If their filter is taking it, then that's what gets so interesting about having to do this one-on-one versus through content. Content is vulnerable in its macro. It's super interesting shit.
Very interesting. And on this particular thing, like I'll say, forget the words because you and I are saying the same thing.
I know
and so
we
the
are.
last thing I want to do is argue
We're in
that when we get to the
semantics.
point.
Semantics.
1,000%.
And I'm with you.
My thing is, how do you get people to realize that momentum is the thing that I think matters? So have you ever been in like an above ground swimming pool? You can start walking in a circle and it creates the vortex, and then you can pick your feet up and it
The
just
whole
carries
thing
you.
I was talking to you about that I got to walk you through of like what you need to do for your studio to like win the world, literally internally for a few minutes was called momentum marketing.
Nice.
We can't
me
be
at
believing
momentum.
more. Yeah. Who is this? Royce? Like Royce Clayton? If you know who Royce Clayton is, leave it in the comments. I forget that Google exists these days. I so grew up in a non-Google world. Everyone's like, that's easy, Gary. He's the shortstop for the Giants.
Hello, this is Royce.
Royce, it's Gary Vaynerchuk, and you're on the Ask Gary V show with Tom Bilyeu.
Oh
No, just
my
having
God! Holy shit! I was listening to you guys live. Oh my God, it's so cool.
How you doing, Royce?
Wait,
Where are you from, Royce?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Are you a Bengals fan?
Oh, big time. The
Good,
Jets
respect.
can frig on off.
Yeah, your cursing could use some upping in your game, but I appreciate it, man. You do know that the Jets beat the Bengals in a huge playoff game in Cincinnati in 2010, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Clearly
yeah,
you do not. All right,
I'm
go
a
ahead.
bit- I mean, yeah. Wait, Andy, I put in like a couple questions. Which question?
Pick whatever. Which one do you want, Andy?
The ones that you said Tom and Gary differ on.
Yeah, Tom,
Patience.
love your stuff too. I listen and watch a lot of Impact Theory.
Love it.
Thank you,
Tom,
man.
I saw you. I listened to you on the Joe Rogan Experience a couple of months ago, and you mentioned how you heard how some people believe that you have to be a natural born entrepreneur, or you can turn into one if you have entrepreneurial tendencies. And you disagreed with the fact that a lot of people out there believe that you have to be a natural born entrepreneur. I was wondering, I know Gary, you always say how you're only a natural born entrepreneur. There's no thought, if you've ever worked a job in your life, that you could be one. So I guess
I think
can
that's.
you be a natural born entrepreneur? Can you become an entrepreneur, or do you have to be a natural born one?
Well, good news. Like, I'll lose this right now because everybody's an entrepreneur now, and most of them are not natural born entrepreneurs. Now let's talk about people that are successful entrepreneurs and not successful entrepreneurs.
That's fair.
That's a big deal. Then there's also people bleeding entrepreneurship with operators. So I think operators are something that can be taught, and those individuals, she and he, are incredible COOs, co-founders as the number two. Guys, there is a mental strength that comes along with you're the last line of defense. That is by definition what entrepreneurship is built around, that I do think we underestimate in what is like comes natural. But I think that being a successful entrepreneur is more of a skill than a taught behavior. In the framework of my perspective, being taught to be an operator is I see every day. Most great COOs are people that were taught to be an operator. Many of them are considered co-founders, but would have not been successful without the energy of the human that was there to eat the pressure and actually lead the company, is how I see it. Tom?
Yeah, so this is one that I have lived the exact opposite. So I started out, my parents taught me to be a good employee, to keep my head down, do as little work as possible, and avoid punishment at all costs.
Yes.
I had a newspaper route. I was too afraid to go knock on the doors to collect the money. So for like 2 years, I delivered the paper for half the money I could have gotten. I never stole somebody's flowers out of the yard and sold them back. Like none of that.
Yes.
So, but then to get what I wanted, which was to make films on my terms, I had to generate the capital.
Why do you need Lambos to do that?
Why do I need Lambos?
Well, you said this earlier. You were like, you were into some of the flashy stuff.
No, I get why other people chase that.
I said you weren't.
No,
okay,
I was chasing, I wanted money to build a studio.
Got it.
So I knew that I had to learn a certain set of skills. Now, my whole thing comes down to humans are the ultimate adaptation machine. Literally what we do is adapt. That is our design. So you can take, there was a woman who swam the Bering Strait, and she turned literally over a year of cold exposure, turned white adipose tissue, which is the fat, into what's called brown adipose tissue, which generates more heat. Now, people will believe it at the body, right? Nobody's here telling me that I'm crazy for that. It's so easy to show people that you can change your body. But for some reason, people don't think that you can change the mind.
So let me ask you a weird question. First of all, I completely only believe you can change the mind, which is now going to get into an interesting semantic.
So keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go keep going. But you're gonna appreciate.
Yeah,
you're gonna answer
time, for sure.
Does that mean everybody is born a natural born entrepreneur? That means everybody is.
It means everybody that meets minimum requirements, and we will have to talk about that.
Okay, so that gets that's fine. That gets into a different place.
Yeah. So if you meet minimum requirements, and some people do not.
But what if you're a Hakeem Olajuwon?
Yeah.
What if you, Tom, are actually Hakeem Olajuwon?
Okay.
So Hakeem Olajuwon is born in Africa, doesn't realize he's a natural great basketball player because he's not exposed to it.
Yep.
But actually was born a natural. Like, what if you actually were, just because the environment you were in?
So you're saying I was a natural born entrepreneur,
yes, I am.
Just in a weird environment?
Because that's where I'm going with this, which is you were in an environment where your parents created the environment to eliminate the entrepreneurial spirit, but that it was down deep in there, and more importantly, just because ripping flowers back to, first of all, you had a paper route.
Yeah.
Let's break that down for a minute.
Okay.
Maybe you were scared of asking for money, just like the last kid, but let's really, really talk about it.
Yep.
What the fuck were you doing with a paper route?
In my family, you had to have a job.
Cool.
So my parents made me get a paper route.
Did they make you get a paper route, or did you have more than one choice, Tom? Now, this is very important.
I don't remember.
Fair enough.
I don't remember.
Believe it. To me, there's...
Well, but let's answer that question. So let's assume for a second that I'm secretly a born entrepreneur just in a bad environment, which I'm very okay with.
And not a bad environment. It's bad for entrepreneurship.
Right, sure.
It's a great environment.
That, I have no beef with that. So my thing is knowing that people can either good environment be trained and bring out those natural inclinations or not. My thing is figure out what you want to do and then go down the path of gaining mastery in that.
Tom,
in that, all will be revealed.
I got it. I apologize. Now I'm being selfish because this is so fun hanging with you. Fear.
Yeah.
Right? Fear is an incredible part of all of this.
Yes.
When and how did you start taking fear out of the equation? Because that's the transition you made.
I don't know. I would never say that. I wouldn't like fear for me as a constant.
You feared asking people for money.
Definitively.
Cool. Later you didn't.
No, I still do.
Interesting. Me too, by the way. This is the weirdest part of me. One of the reasons I didn't finish off raising my fund is because I hate asking people for money. But I don't know if I fear it. I just hate it. I hate anybody having leverage. That's really what I'm all about.
Yeah, I'd really have to sit down and think about the semantics of whether I just hate it or I fear it. But there are definitely things that I do that I fear. And I use fear as a guidepost of where to move because my fundamental assumption is humans adapt via stress. So your
restrictions are and adversity are such an incredible framework.
Right. And those are the things that change
by the
you.
way, the biggest reason I want to talk about real and fake entrepreneurs right now, you know why? There's no fucking restrictions to being an entrepreneur, not only in money, but in the bio of your fucking Instagram account.
Right.
This is it. This is the punchline. Unlike, you and I are so fucking similar. I have so much fun with it because that means I love you so much because fuck, I love myself, right?
That was amazing.
No, but I'm serious. By the way, self-love is super, the greatest gift. By the way, loving yourself doesn't mean you're delusional and think you're great. Self-awareness is the foundation of loving yourself. I love myself for the things that I am and I'm not. It's super important. How in the same way that people were uncomfortable talking about mental health, we need to start making it comfortable for people who like themselves to talk about it because it will encourage other people to realize liking yourself isn't ego or delusion. It's grounded in self-awareness.
Yeah, here's the thing. Your superpower is you don't judge yourself.
You're right.
That became very clear to me. And
You nailed
think
that.
that's amazing.
By the way, and you know what else not judging yourself does? You don't judge other people either. So you end up liking a lot more people. You motherfuckers are judging. Last night I spent 98 hours consuming judgment. People fucking judge. We're doing this post-election. People judge. Who the fuck you have no context of what's going on in somebody's bedroom. Or mostly important, in their head. You're right. I don't judge myself because I know what my intent is. I'm obsessed with intent. It's insane how much I love everybody here if I know their intent. Once I wrap my head around one's intent, it's game over. It's like fucking binary switch, and I'm going to bat for them in perpetuity, for me, outside of me, with me, against me. If I think somebody's a good person and they're literally my direct competitor, I weirdly, secretly root for them in some weird way. Because if they're better than me, they deserve to win.
Yeah.
I was so pumped when I was with all those super angels and Scott Belsky and Chris Sacca had better investment. I had a great investing career. They were better. And I love talking about it, right? I fucking love talking about it. They deserve it. That's what I love about sports, man. None of this bullshit of our entrepreneurship's amazing. You know why? Nobody can judge it. It's all hidden. Man, do I want the world to melt. You know why? People are confused. Everybody thinks I want the world to melt because I do a bad job communicating it because I like keeping a lot of shit in, that I'm going to take advantage of it. I want the world to melt because people are going to be happier.
That's really interesting.
Tom, people are in fake environments. No, listen, this is why Tom's smart, man. He gets it. He gets it right away. I'm serious. People are going to be happier because everybody's living a fake life right now and keeping up with the Joneses. And when everything melts, everybody gets back to the right. Not paying the piper in 2009 in America for the economic melting and going through 7 years of a recession and us propping up fucked our culture in a way that nobody talks about.
Have you read The Stand by Stephen King?
I don't read shit.
Of course. I already knew the
But can
answer.
you break
So
down
here
it
we
for
go.
me?
Yeah, because it literally speaks to exactly this.
Then he's fucking
The
right.
center character of the book is somebody who's just popping off as a musician right when this world-ending flu happens. But the guy survives. And so he goes from everybody loves me, they're treating
And
me
there's
well,
nobody
I've got
left.
free cocaine, and then now no one knows who the fuck I am. And that whole machinery that was about to make me like the biggest thing on the planet just fell out from under him.
And he's solo?
And it's not solo because there's, enough people to survive, but he realizes like all that bullshit that he was chasing now, it just doesn't exist. So there's like this simplification of life. And to your point, as he gets beyond that hunger for the fame and the adulation and just has to deal with staying alive, like his life actually gets better.
I love this shit so God, can I not wait for the economic meltdown because it's the beginning of happiness at a bigger scale.
It's interesting. So the comic book that we wrote for Neon Future is literally about that. So I wanted to start post-economic meltdown, look at how people react,
The
and
fucking
then
superhero better look like me because I fucking believe in it the most.
right. We'll have to work that in, Gary. We'll have to work that in.
Caesar, start drawing. Did we answer my man's question?
What do you think?
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I did have one other question that's just been like on me for about a month or so.
That's it. So I'm hanging up. That's not that long. I'm kidding. Go ahead. Go fast.
Okay. So my other question I submitted, I'm busy, I guess, in the dirt, I guess you could say. I just graduated from college, and I'm working for actually a startup here in Cincinnati as business development, and being around this environment, I'm listening to you, Gary, and Tom. I truly believe I have a lot of entrepreneurial tendencies. So I'm building my personal brand and, or I guess documenting, things that I believe and things that I'm learning, throughout life, just through LinkedIn and blogging.
Good. So you're documenting more than posturing, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not faking it. I'm letting people
Keep
know
going.
if I don't know something. So I'm in the dirt, but I know you also say to try as many things as possible in your age. Taste as many at this age. Taste as many things
remember,
as you can.
and this is what is hard about advice and putting out content. People start blending it, and that's why I have a lot of empathy for your patience thing. When kids ask me, I have no idea what I want to do. Gary, I don't know what I like. The only practical answer to that is like, yo, bro, hey, gal, go taste some shit. It sounds like you have a better feel of what you like, and thus you don't have to quit this startup and be a sous chef.
Right. No, I get. And then my final question in that is, in doing this, I have a lot of people ask me, why are you doing this? What are you doing? You're like, what are you trying to get out of it? Or where do you see, or what are you trying to be in 10 years or 20 years?
Tell them to go fuck themselves. Who gives a shit? You don't know. You don't fucking know. Ask brother, the next time somebody says, where are you going to be at 30, or where do you see yourselves in 5 years or 10 years, look them dead in the face and say, what about you? Do you know how many miserable fucking 54-year-olds there are? Most.
And I'll give you a slightly different take on that. And I'll say that skills have utility, man. This is something that people don't think about. Like, you're going to spend years developing a skill set. That skill set is going to let you do something. And so what do you want to be able to do? And that's the thing to me about adaptation, about anybody being an entrepreneur or not. It's like, it's just about skill acquisition. The difference between where I was when I didn't know what the fuck I was doing as an entrepreneur and now when I do is I've learned a set of skills that apply themselves in the real world, either influencing other people, getting them pointed in the same direction, creating momentum, knowing how to sell, knowing how to market.
Tactic.
1,000%.
Some weird tactic. How old are you?
1,000%, 42.
And you're young as fuck.
As fuck.
When are you 43?
March.
Great. So I'm 4 months older? Okay, fine. So listen, Royce, do you understand?
Oh, absolutely. No,
no, but do you like who gives a fuck why they're asked? Bro, people asking questions like that, it's fascinating to me. I've been really watching this, obviously. Like, the amount of people that ask that question sheerly out of misery loves company has been one of the most fascinating things for me to observe.
I think people are also terrified they're going to miss out on something. And the only thing that you have is today. So if you're worried about today and you take care of today, 10 years from now is going to take care of itself. What do you fucking love doing right now? What do you want to get great at right now?
You're so right. Because you're not going to know the alternative. There's no weird video game where you pick a path, but then you get to rewind it and watch what would have happened. Like, if you go to move to the company's headquarters in Afghanistan, or go to work to a different friend in Cincinnati, or move to the big city of New York, Royce, you're not going to know how it would have worked out.
And if it sucks, switch it up. Like, that's the thing that drives me nuts. Here's how I think entrepreneurs need to think of themselves. You're standing in a room with 1,000 doors. Your job is to close 999 of them and walk through one. People are so paralyzed by all the opportunity cost of actually having to shut a door that they never make a decision. Make a decision, even if it's fucking terrible.
Dude.
Mistakes are the most information-rich data stream there is.
I love this,
Standing still
that's right.
is the only problem.
Dude, I make decisions so fast, it scares the fuck out of everybody around me.
Yeah.
Seriously. I'm just making decisions. Like, the end.
Yep. And that, my friend, is why you win.
You can add value to the show.
It's 100% true. A decision that the team's debating for days on end, Gary answers in 2 seconds. And all of us walk out of the room feeling very confident.
And here's the thing. Even if you didn't, it's better to have a decision and be able to go try than to sit there and fucking talk about it.
That's why you can do it so quickly.
I love losing. This is how it all works together.
Right.
I love when I made the wrong decision. I'm not going to do that decision in that circumstance if I recognize it again.
Right. Yeah, I think of entrepreneurs as athletes that don't have a limit to their body. So it's like, it's one thing if you know you're only going to be in the NFL for 4 years because your body can't take the tax.
Right.
When you're going to be in it forever, it's like, yeah, if you fuck this play up, you make a mistake, what's the matter? You're going to get more powerful.
Entrepreneurship is more science than people realize. Like, you're learning from the nose. It's a data point you build on top of it.
For sure.
I'm insanely better than I was at 22, which would blow the 22-year-old me out of the water because I thought I was the best then. Experience fucking matters.
For sure.
And what the 22-year-old named Royce doesn't know is that 42-year-old Tom feels exactly the way Royce does right this second. Because when you're doing what you love and you're in that zone, I feel way younger than 99% of the 22-year-olds that are unhappy.
That is for sure.
It's fucking true, man.
And
That's
just energy
living.
level, like that's the thing. And I know you get a lot of criticism for it. I get a lot of criticism for how many hours I work. And I'm like, motherfuckers, are you not listening? Like, here's the punchline.
Happiness.
I work that hard because I'm having fun.
Happiness. I don't want to go skiing, dickface. I do not want to go skiing. I do not want to go to a beer garden. It is not fun for me to go look at a museum. Yeah. I am not interested in watching Netflix. I am not interested. That doesn't mean that I think everybody else should do that. I think, and I've said consistently, self-awareness, happiness. I've said it a million fucking times. Do I believe in hustle? Yes, I do. I like work ethic. It's controllable. Do I want that to put you into depression or health scares? Yeah. Of course not, dickface. Of course not. But don't sit on a pedestal after you fucking worked hard for 15 years and then tell all these kids that they should have work-life balance. You fucking elitist.
Yeah, dude, If that's
Do not
what
be a
lights
hypocrite.
people up,
Do not be a
for it.
fucking hypocrite. Do not be a hypocrite. If you make $47,000, I only talk what I live. Right? Just like, so I got really scared when you're like, when you transition on that one debate we were having a little bit there, and you're like, weird, because I just lived the actual opposite. I'm like, fuck. Because it's the number one thing I believe in. Sure. I hate when people work 11 years on their startup, work their faces off. I watch them grind, and then they hit, and then they're sitting on money, and they're not part of their life, and then the advice they're giving isn't what they lived. I want to hear from people publicly that made $47,000 a year their whole life and are happy as shit. Go talk about that. We're talking about happiness. People are using mental health as a weapon to make themselves look good, just like nonprofits. You might be tricking the 99%, but you're not tricking the 1%, partner. Cool. Thanks, Royce. Tom.
Dude.
It's a great episode.
It was amazing, man.
Tom, you get to ask the question of the day.
There's only one, at least from my perspective.
Can't wait to hear it.
What is the impact you want to have on the world? Because, baby, chasing fulfillment, that's the game.
That is the motherfucking ROI. Thank you, brother.
You got it. Thank you.
You keep asking questions. We'll keep answering them. Book Tom for speaking. Awesome.